Dreamtonic, 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 Dreamtonic.
When I'm dreaming in the night, I am running for my life, fighting to find out what's real. Come save me.
When I'm running to your side, fighting for your life, I will be your grace and save your life. When I'm running to your side, fighting for your life, I will be your grace and save. I'll save you.
All the vocals you just heard are completely fake. They are generated by Synthesizer V. It is a vocal synthesizer. You give it MIDI, you type in the words, and like magic, it produces a vocal. It's crazy. It's really good too. That's the other thing that's sort of mind-blowing. So first off, let me just show you what it sounds like without all the bells and whistles on. Dreamtonic, Dreamtonic. So you can hear there's like stuff going to other notes. They're all singing the same parts. Crazy. This vibrato here might be a little much, so we'll maybe look at how to tone that back. But it's literally as easy as you just type in notes. We'll just type in a few notes so you can sort of see how this works. So it'll generate some stuff here. So let's just say we wanted to go la la la, you know, up and down. There is a spot in the settings to give it the default thing that appears here. It's la by default. I find that to be fine in most cases. So it's generated it. La la la, la la la. And now you'll notice Kevin likes vibrato a lot. And he naturally has it in most of his stuff. Sometimes you're gonna not wanna have so much dang vibrato on everything. Most of the time, actually, I really like it. But in this case, for example, a little too much. So what I'm gonna do is there is a parameters down here, this little arrow, and I could come in, I could choose the vibrato envelope, and I could double click and I can get rid of this vibrato. So it becomes a lot more straight, and this is what it sounds like. La la la, la la la. There's this full automation. These are all the things you can automate. The vocal modes are super, super cool. So these are automatable too, which is really nuts. But basically it changes the way the singer sings the part. So for Kevin, we've got the belt, clear, soft, and solid. I really, really like soft. If we take soft off, and let's bring the belt up. So he's gonna belt it. It'll sound like this. La, la, la. La la la. We could have him go to like some really high range. That'd be like really tricky to do, right, as a singer. La la la, la la la. Yeah, right, that'd be kind of hard. La la la, la la. And you can see how quickly it updates. So this waveform view, by the way, is turned on right here. This lets you see the waveform. And what you're seeing on top is the phonemes. So let's say I wanted to say super, or let's have it say sing. And I want it to sing, and I want it to hold sing for here. And I want it to hold it through here. So the little hyphen means continue the vowel. And what you're seeing on top, these are the phonemes. So this is what it thinks the way the word sing is. This is like the individual sounds that it's trying to make. They're referred to as phonemes, and we can click to change them, but let's just play this. Ding, ding, We could have it come out, maybe give them more of a chance to sing it.
Sing, sing.
But that's the general idea. If we have like a 2-syllable word like super, we can actually split that up across something by just typing a plus sign. So you don't have to type su and then per over here and deal with all these phonemes. It'll figure it out for you. And this is part of the reason it's just really nice to work with. So that's what this sounds like.
Super, super.
So maybe we add some of that vibrato back in. Maybe we've taken out too much of his vibrato. Let's add some of it.
Super, super.
And you can really get a specific result. That's the general idea. While I'm here, I mention real briefly the when you work with the VST version, you need to be super aware of where you click. So if I click up here, FL Studio now has control of the transport. So what that means is if I have open the main transport and I move this around, this will just lock to it. And since these things are rendered, it just plays it like audio. So it's actually a really smooth playback.
Dreamtonics.
And while I'm here, I should probably undo all that stuff I just did. So, right, I just messed with the vocal modes and things. So let's just undo it to before these notes existed, because then I know we'll be good. And when you do this, you notice I clicked in here first. The reason I did that was because if I click up here and then hit Control Z, it's going to undo stuff in this session. And I want to have the keyboard focus on the plugin. So make sure you click inside the plugin if you're going to be using the keyboard shortcuts. It's a mistake that'll get you a bunch of different times, and eventually you just get used to it. But that's how any plugin's going to be when it's working inside of a host. So that's the setup. It's loaded up. This entire empty pattern is it. And it doesn't, I could have this like not be here. It doesn't matter. It's going to lock to the tempo. So I usually have this open in another window and I'm working on it from there. And I just add voices in the session as is necessary. I do have a tempo change in this track. And so I change it in the DAW with automation. Specifically, it's just a jump to and a jump to. There's not like smooth. I'm not dealing with speeding up and slowing down. It's just literally just here's one tempo, here's the next tempo. So you can add tempos and time signatures at the top here by just double clicking. And you need this to match so that it can line up where the parts go with the DAW. I'm going to turn on the effects, by the way, just because I really like, I work with it with these effects on. It's just a reverb and a delay. That's it. And with those two effects, it now sounds like this. And you'll also notice that before, some of these like really wiggly notes that didn't sound so good before, like this one, get kind of smoothed out. It's kind of actually a nice effect. But when you have it by itself, it doesn't sound as good. I'm looking for that tension and release. So now you should be able to identify several of the techniques. I've got my part in. I'm using the plus signs to split up Dreamtonic. And in some of these, I have them singing additional notes, like on this one, Harmony 1. This one seems dream, but it keeps the E part of dream, dream, and it holds that because I have a hyphen. Then I go to the next syllable here. So, you know. That's the bulk of working with it. Let me pull up real quick the phoneme chart because it is super handy to know about. So this is their phoneme reference. And a lot of the times I come here to look for things. There's actually a dictionary function inside of it, but now we're diving into a little more advanced features. So I'm going to leave that out for now, but there's a way to sort of set up words to be pronounced the way you want them if you have a consistent pronunciation, or you could even use it to really quick see the phonemes. But sometimes you type in a word, like let's type in the word life, for example, or live. Live is one that has a couple ways, right? You could say live or live. And let's solo it up. And this is what it sounds like. And right now it's only got one syllable, right? So you can't go anywhere. So you can hit tab to go to the next note. It'll automatically go to it. We see it re-render. Again, this is controlled by this. That's why I like having it on. We can see how the phonemes are broken up here. So we can see it's sticking to this I phoneme, this one right here. But it's saying live. Let's say that I want live, I don't want live. Well, we could come over here and look for under vowels. We want the I, which will be, so we have vowel, we have peak, sick. So sick is a word that has the eh. So the phoneme we actually want is IH. So we'll come over here. Sometimes you can guess them, but if you guess one that doesn't exist, it just renders nothing. So it's worth knowing. So we'll type in IH, type that in, and now we should hear live. So that's how the phonemes work. A lot of the times it's pretty intuitive and it's not much of an issue. But other times I'm sitting here guessing and I just go to the chart real quick to look. There's a dictionary. You could create a new dictionary. And then you click here, new dictionary, and we'll name it like stuff or whatever. I don't know. Maybe you have your song name. And then in your dictionary, you can include words like maybe if we have live and we don't want I, we want the IH phoneme. And we can hit set, and now it'll know, like if it sees the word live, you know, there you go. And you could create like your own references and things. So something that is a possibility. I don't have one set up. I tend to just rock and roll as I go, and I memorize them. Another one that you'll have, sometimes you'll want to change up is the T. Like in water, for example, it will automatically, like check it out. We'll do water. Water. Most English speakers, when they say this, at least in America, will use a D for the T in we'll say water. We're kind of lazy when we speak, right? Versus water. So if I wanted this to be a T, the phoneme for this one, because I changed it quite a bit for Dreamtonics, sometimes I would get other results. Usually it's pretty good, but I could change it to a T to say water. So let's see the differences real quick. Let's change it back to the DX. So here it is. Oh, and let's solo it up because we're just working on this one voice. So you see the dir. Let's change it to the T. We'll get a nice clear T sound. Very nice, right? I should also mention you can add breaths by just putting in a BR and you get a breath sound. Just real quick while I remember. There you go. If you make the breath longer, it's a bigger breath, that kind of a thing. Now, when it comes to these T's or other things that just sort of pop a lot more, sometimes you want that particular phoneme to be weaker. And sometimes you want the transitions to be a little different. So I find myself going to this a lot. So underneath the notes icon, there is a duration specific to the phoneme. So if I click on different notes, these change. And we can change the strength. So if I don't want the T to pop out so much, I could just bring the strength down. And we'll see this will change. Now it's much softer. So you have these controls. If something pops out at you in a way you don't want, because this was the original. I mean, we could even make it worse, make it go up. But this was how it sounded before. You know, it pops out a little more. So I find myself coming here quite often to mess with this stuff. These are just really, really handy. I'll also note there's a rap mode. So I'm only showing the sing options, but there are 3 voice models. There's Kevin and Natalie, which are good for singing, and then there's Richie. I don't show off Richie here. Well, Richie's meant more for rapping. And when you change it, it turns more into like a speaking kind of thing. So if we select a group of notes, we could set them all at once. It doesn't make sense with this because rapping's much quicker and it's a lot more like speaking. It's like this middle ground. So you'll change them there. Obviously, I'm going to want singing for this. So that's the intro. I wanted to show a few other sections. So there are these vocal modes. So if you come out and you go to the little microphone, these are like for the specific voice. And you have these parameters here. And the only ones I'm going to touch on here, because there's a lot you could do, are these. They are so friggin' cool. So you've got belt, clear, soft, and solid. If you go to Natalie, you get some different ones. And this just means that I have automation controlling these. So you can turn them on and off at specific moments. So here, Natalie is singing her line, which sounds like this.
When I'm dreaming in the night.
And that's at, this particular, I'm not messing with any of these. I could make it softer. So I could select these. I think actually you have to do it via automation for it to be specific to a region. But we'll go ahead, we'll bring it up. And we'll see it re-render. That's why I like having the waveform view.
When I'm dreaming in the night.
You get that soft vibe. Go ahead, bring that down. And I'm also gonna move my playhead over to where it actually is in the track so that my automation from my DAW lines up.
When I'm dreaming in the night.
I could have her be bold, and we could bring up the bold parameter, and it will re-render all the stuff.
When I'm dreaming in the night.
I could have the boldness change over time and automate it up. I could bring the vibrato is something I tend to touch here, and then I mess with the soft and the bold to get that forward momentum at spots where I really want it to really stick out. Something here too is you notice that I've split up dreaming like this, and then there's a gap. This creates the words to be a lot choppier, which is usually a bad thing, I think. But in this case, it actually really works quite well.
When I'm dreaming in the night.
If I wanted in to be a lot more fluid, let's only select the one note. I could just put it over here.
When I'm dreaming in the night.
So there's still a gap there. It's not like it's like being super connected. But I liked the more pulsive, I liked the style when it's a little bit shorter.
When I'm dreaming in the night.
Versus.
When I'm dreaming in the night.
So, when you're working with it, you'll figure out what you want to do. But if it sounds overly like, that's due to the spaces between notes. We'll go ahead and go over to Kevin's lead part, and his sounds like this.
When I'm running to your side, fighting for your life.
And then they go through at the end and they reprise their two parts. And I brought up the boldness, but I've also brought up the softness on Natalie. And we'll talk about that right now. Here's what it sounds like.
When I'm running to your side, fighting for your life, I will be your grace and save, I'll save you.
So they sing their two bits, kind of like this epic finale. There are two parts, right? I don't know, it'd be the intro to some knight singing his part in some other part of the world, and how he's gonna go save his girl, and she's over trapped in some dream. That was kind of the notion. So it's this big sort of epic thing. So they're singing their two parts, and she starts these extensions out. But if you don't have the softness up, so these are vibratos, adding the vibratos in, so that she doesn't like to sing vibrato, so you got to kind of tell her to do it. If we go over, there's a bold and soft. Soft has actually been brought up because if you don't have it up, let's let it render real quick. We see go through. See how much this is going to be piercing.
When I'm running to your side, fighting for.
I might not think that's actually sounds pretty good. Like, oh, this is, that could be, it's a lot more bold and forward. But let me turn on the mastering and we'll see what you think after it gets that volume boost. And we'll even play it inside, like where it is in the track. Here's how it would sit.
When I'm running to your side, fighting for your life, I will be your grace and save, I'll save you.
So that's option one. And if you're wearing headphones, it's actually pretty nice. But if you listen to it over speakers, it could be aggressive. So if we bring up the soft, it'll subdue these high notes and it just sounds so much smoother.
When I'm running to your side, fighting for your life, I will be your grace and save, I'll save you.
Maybe we have it turn off. See, this is a rough mix still. We could have it come down over time so it gets more bold as the note continues. This is a middle option I haven't gotten the chance to really experiment with yet in the mix.
When I'm running to your side, fighting for your life.
I really think that's going to be the thing I settle on, but yeah. So that's most of the workflow with it. Honestly, you just when you're adding stuff, you just click to add, create new track. You put it in, you start writing in the notes. You navigate with this guy up here, and this allows you to quickly sort of jump around. And yeah, that's you pick your phonemes, you write your words, you play in the MIDI. I write the MIDI in. There's a bit of a mix here. So sometimes I'll write it in, sometimes I'll play it in. If you come down, there is a record option, and you can just record your playing in. There's a lot more in here we haven't talked about. There's stuff like automatic retakes that you could do where it regenerates the part, and then you can take that and do it a couple times to get a really nice, thick, chorusy vocal. Ways of doing the pitch bends and sort of, fine tuning those. There's a lot of little things, but the general workflow is just awesome. You just write in the notes, you type in the lyrics, and you've got yourself a vocalist. If you have any questions about this, feel free to let me know. Subscribe and hit that bell icon for future videos, and have a blessed day.
When I'm